Come Play Trade siamo felici di poter ospitare gli Ucraine, Lorenzo e Massimo, e oltre ovviamente a chi ci aiuta nella coordinazione e nella presentazione di questo evento. Come sapete, questa giornata qui in questa sala è dedicata al rapporto e al modello retailer. Riteniamo che comunque per il settore e i vari aspetti che come dire, Kickstarter implica, Kickstarter sia sicuramente uno degli elementi e dei fattori fondamentali. L'Ucraine in questo caso è presente proprio perché ha della componente gaming di Kickstarter e quindi in particolare della gestione delle community, e Lorenzo e Massimo ci daranno la testimonianza di quella che è stata due delle realtà più importanti e interessanti per il mondo del gioco da tavolo e principalmente per il mondo del gioco di ruolo, delle esperienze Kickstarter italiane sul modello, e in particolare anche gli aspetti e gli impatti verso il mondo soprattutto retailer, che è uno degli aspetti che ci interessa approfondire in questa giornata. Lascio la parola al folto tavolo in maniera che si possa partire. Grazie. Chi inizia? Morgan?
No, ci vuole Biglia.
Io.
Biglia.
Okay.
Francesco.
Ok,
Scusa,
allora, il formato sarà più o meno questo, visto che l'ospite centrale è Luke, is the main guest, so I will ask him about the question we have. He will say what is the general idea of Kickstarter behind, what is the idea of Kickstarter behind the things, and then we will ask how is seen in Italian the same problems. Per cui chiederemo a lui e poi chiederemo a uno di loro per dirci qual è l'esperienza italiana, che è come invece è diverso in Italia rispetto al resto. The first question is why the games are so big and so important in Kickstarter. You didn't expect that, Kickstarter didn't expect that, and which is the reason behind it?
Hello, how y'all doing?
Good.
Good. Could be somewhere else on a Sunday morning, I guess. But so you can all understand me, all right? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I always like to know before I start digging into Kickstarter nerd stuff who I'm talking to. So who has anyone run a Kickstarter project out there?
Run?
Yeah. Has anyone backed a Kickstarter project, like pledged money to one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Me too. 350 or 400 or something and counting. Like I can't stop. That's cool. So is anyone like thinking about launching a game or anything, a game or comic or something on Kickstarter, or like doing a project on? Okay. Cool. All right. Great. Did anyone answer no to all of those questions?
There are lots of games downstairs.
Yeah, exactly. There's some really great things you can be doing right now. All right, cool. So my name's Luke. I am the head of games at Kickstarter. I have been at Kickstarter since 2012. So the speaker just went. It's okay? Oh, there we go. No, I'm back. Yeah, all right. I think it's a little loose connection. Anyway, Francesco's having a conversation there.
I was talking to one who understands you a little less, that I will help you later on about what we say.
Do I need to stop for translation?
No, because it's so dense that we need to move on. So
Great. Okay.
I will keep him updated about things.
Okay, great.
Later on, and he will be our special guest. So.
Cool. Okay. He's the real special guest.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry, my Italian is so bad. My Italian's so bad I speak English. Anyway, so I've been there since 2012, and I've seen just about everything on Kickstarter. I would say I've seen 95% of the madness on Kickstarter. I was hired to be the translator between games and Kickstarter and games. And now I forgot the question. Wait.
Why games are so important now on Kickstarter?
So, the games community just really, especially tabletop, but like the whole games community really just gets Kickstarter in a very fundamental way, and not just in the like, hey, I have a crazy idea and I need to raise money. Yeah, everyone understands that, especially in the U.S. Kind of entrepreneurial spirit in the U.S. is very much part of the culture, and people use Kickstarter to raise money for all sorts of things. But for games, we understand the core of it. We understand that Kickstarter. Silenzio. We understand that Kickstarter is a game, essentially, right? It has a beginning, it has a goal. You must make the goal before the end, and to win the game, you have to get a lot of people excited about the game. So we understand that, and we also come from a community that exists on the internet. Kickstarter is a website, and we almost all of us, have other websites that we visit where we read about games or we talk about games. So it's just a very natural fit for the Kickstarter model and the way the games community thinks about itself and the way it talks and spends money even. Is that Francesco? Wait. Sorry, Flavio. I just had a question for Francesco. Does that answer the question?
It's perfect. Yeah. You're doing fine. Don't worry. Okay. So the second question is boring. We'll skip it and try that later. Yeah. No. The more important is Kickstarter changed a lot in the last years, and it was before something to propose an idea, a crazy idea, and see if it happens. Right now, bigger companies are trying to approach Kickstarter for different reasons. One of these is marketing and hype. And what do you see a change in the way Kickstarter is used in the game community? Is clear the question?
Yeah,
it's not just I have a cool game, I want to make it and want to see it on the table, but there are different companies that are using Kickstarter in different ways right now.
Yeah. Right, but I detect like Eric Lang, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, this is the guy.
Rockstar game designer, Eric Lang.
The rock star.
The rock star.
Stop it.
I just summoned him. See, I skipped the second question, and this was for him.
So actually, Eric's a perfect example of this. Like, so I detect behind your question a note of, oh, big evil companies.
No, good
are
companies.
using Kickstarter.
For me, good companies. Just not evil.
What?
I don't see evil.
You don't see evil? That's good. Jesus.
I have an evil company.
Jesus saved the games.
I have an evil company.
You're horrible.
But or also Kickstarter should be for little guys. Like, I mean, CMON is the biggest creator on Kickstarter ever of all.
I hate you.
Right. But think about that. Think about when we're like, oh, the big bad CMON. They're making the weirdest games in like the strangest format. Like they're not the games world, the tabletop world, especially like on Kickstarter, is small. Now, Asmodee doesn't use Kickstarter. Okay, I get it. Asmodee, that's a different and bigger entity. But from all the creators that I see using Kickstarter, they're all worthy. They're all doing things.
The question was not about the evil of the bad, but companies that could just make their games without worries, that prefer to use it for.
But it is there's a.
Okay.
I think that.
Go for it.
I think that what you mean is that there is like a general feeling that some companies are using Kickstarter even if they don't really need the support of people to create a game. That's something that it's like a general feeling that you read on the web, and I think that it's partially true, but it's not completely true, because even if you think at what CMON do, they do something that would be completely impossible without Kickstarter, because
Right.
they obviously they can do Blood Rage, they can do any miniature game because they have the knowledge and they know how to do. But what they can do with Kickstarter that is to give to the people a lot of stuff, and something that would be impossible to give in retail.
Right.
I think that this is one of
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you're right. Like, I run Kickstarter projects too. I've run 12 Kickstarter projects, all successful. That's just that was it. Some of them were very close. I don't need Kickstarter to make games. You're right. I could sit at home and, for 10 years work on my one game, and go, talk to people on the internet and, save money. I don't need it, but having Kickstarter as a tool allows me to make games faster, allows me to take risks. Some of these games I made, I could never make without Kickstarter. I could never afford the production. And so, right, whether it's CMON or whether it's a small creator, there's a legitimate use case for the platform. It's not just, for marketing. It is. Oh, God, Eric. I'm trying to help you here.
I think that you have to say something, Mr. Lang.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Lorenzo is wrong in everything he says.
Always.
Horrible.
I am
no, I'm sorry. It's not just for marketing, but there's marketing to it, of course. Like, you guys know there are many, many games released every year into the market of all types, and one of the things that we do believe it is sort of a marketing event, but it's a participatory marketing event. So we get to build a game with our backers at the same time. And I know there's a little bit of a myth that we plan everything ahead of time and we don't actually give choices, but we do. Like when we build like 80% of our product, the skeleton of a product, and what we think is going to be the best for it. But when we put it on Kickstarter, we want the backers' input. We use the comments that come in from the Kickstarter to help influence our decisions. And if we do something that we think is not, that we're getting bad feedback for, we will change it. That we cannot do that in the retail space, and especially for big, complex games, that helps us a lot. And of course, it makes a big event out of it, which for us is a better launch and proof that the game actually does have a market for us and our board and all that than just a simple release.
No, what I would like to say is that there is for sure a marketing part in Kickstarter. That's true, because there is a lot of people that can reach your game very easily, and from my experience, I think that there is what people. I start from the beginning. Sorry. We had two experiences on Kickstarter. The first one, we had a game that was not finished, and we paid this decision a lot because the Kickstarter campaign was a success, but was not really a success. It was not the success we had was not proportioned to what we were expecting, and I think that because in some way in the tabletop Kickstarter, people, what Eric says is true. You have the chance to listen to the feedback of the people to change a very complex game and to follow what the people is asking, and that's what we did in the last campaign of Alone, where we added the avatar evil rule. Who cares? But it was something that the backer asked us because they think the game had a problem, and we decided to listen to the backers and change this. But the game was a finished game. With the first campaign, we had a game that was not finished, and this was really clear during the campaign, and we failed to have the support of the backers. And so I think that it's very delicate. In some ways, our original idea was to launch something that, yeah, it's not finished, and the people ask it, hey, but there is no review from the press. Fuck, we don't have a game. It's an idea. Sorry for the bad words. And we paid this, and we tried to learn from this, and we tried to make a completely different campaign where the game was finished because it was already published, but with the chance to listen and to improve the game, and that was really better.
Okay, thank you. The next topic is about the difference between the sectors of the game Kickstarter is working on. So, is tabletop games, and you see people working at role-playing games, and you see Massimo is from Wyrd and is publishing all his new material through Kickstarter. They are not publisher, but they are Morgengabe. They helped the Italian community to grow a lot, helping a small publisher or helping gamers to bring the games to the table, or helping creating with Gioco al Buio or Games on Demand and events, raising the awareness about role-playing game in Italy, and it's not just Dungeons and Dragons and few other things, but making know what people from all over the world with Kickstarter do and share with us. So the question for you is, which are the sides different between tabletop games and role-playing games, or and computer games? So how much big is the pie, and how?
Share your analytics.
Yeah.
Data.
So it's interesting because Kickstarter naturally looks at games from a very high level. Kickstarter, the platform doesn't think about games the way we think about games. We don't track the differences necessarily between board games or card games or miniatures games. I do, but Kickstarter doesn't. So from a high level, like tabletop games to video games is very different. Last year, tabletop games saw 180 million pledged to it, and video games 20 million on Kickstarter. Yeah, so it's a big.
Yeah, we're winning.
It's a contest. So it's a big difference, and part of the reason the tabletop games have been so successful is because we close the loop very quickly, and we close the loop very well. So in terms of like, hey, I have this crazy idea, hey, I'm running a Kickstarter project for it, pledge for the game, and then 1 year later you have the game, and the quality of games on Kickstarter, because of this cycle, has been improving year after year. Whereas in video games, it's, hey, I have this crazy idea, hey, I'm running a Kickstarter project, 4 years of silence, and then, the game comes out, and you're like, whoa, can I still run this game on my computer? Like, so it's tough. The video game cycle is it's harder to show that it's a virtuous cycle. So that's the kind of high level from Kickstarter. Now, I love role-playing games. You may not know this about me, but I make role-playing games as well. Hey, buddy, how you doing? There you go. So I also, from the moment I started at Kickstarter, the first thing I asked was, can we have a role-playing games category on Kickstarter? And they were like, no. But actually, I get it now. I got it then too, honestly. But just, role-playing games are difficult to parse. Like, what if you have a computer role-playing game? What category does it go in? Does it go in video games, or does it go in role-playing games, et cetera, et cetera? So, but I have been personally tracking RPGs since the beginning, and I have my own internal tracking system, and so I have tracked over 1,800 RPGs that have launched on Kickstarter since the launch of the platform, 2009. The first was Greg Stolze's Reign and Cheridian, which raised like $5,000 or something in 2009. And RPGs So 1,800 RPGs out of something like 30,000 games launched altogether. So it's small. It's a small segment, and I think maybe RPGs have raised less than 200 million all told. So again, very small. However, the really exciting part about RPGs on Kickstarter is their success rate. The chance of getting funded is nearly 80%. So, like for a normal project, the chance of getting funded is 35%. For a video game, the chance of getting funded is 21%. For a board game, the chance of getting funded is about 55%. Okay. But for an RPG, the chance of getting funded is 78.7%. So if you would like to make a little bit of money from some very enthusiastic people,
role-playing games.
Yeah, role-playing games.
Okay, but the role-playing. So we speak about a little bit about the role-playing games. Most of the Kickstarter of role-playing games are small production. It's just John Wick and few others that raise millions. With is it still possible for a small company who have a great idea of a role-playing game to publish through Kickstarter their idea? Is a chance a small project can still land and have success? You said yes, but why? Bigger and smaller can still have a good way of success in that.
Yes, the answer is yes. Like, you do not have to, like, even though, so I just actually want to touch on something that Eric said earlier. So yes, there is a marketing component to all Kickstarter campaigns. It's the nature of the platform, is you have to reach out to a community, you have to get your ideas on the internet, and you will get visibility on Kickstarter that you just wouldn't get anywhere else. Even if your project is buried at the, like deep down in the search list, you're still going to be more visible there than you would be anywhere else. So just putting your project on Kickstarter, you're already, you have a leg up. But the idea that it's just like the big hits on Kickstarter, that it's just Evil Hat or Money Cook or John Wick or CMON, it's just not true. And it's just the nature of the beast, really, that we only see the big successes sometimes. We're just like, oh, $1.5 million, but the numbers point to a very broad, very deep category. Most projects in games are raising $10,000 to $15,000. Hundreds, thousands of these every year. You don't even see them, asking for that, and many of them succeed. So, and then just to prove my point, in February, I ran an initiative on Kickstarter called Zine Quest, or Zine Quest, as I heard it pronounced yesterday, where I said make a small project, make a small RPG project on Kickstarter, and we had 106 of these projects launch. Something like 60 or 70 of these creators were first-time creators, and they raised all told, the 106 project raised $450,000. So small, but also I would like to have $450,000. But it's small but big. 60% of them new creators. 95% success rate. 95% of those projects launch because RPGs again, and they succeeded. And they launched They raised $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 for a first-time project. It's so beautiful. It's so nice.
Yeah. Okay. I want to ask Morgengabe about the small launch in Italy, per cui i piccoli giochi che sono usciti in Italia, ma non solo, magari potete parlare anche degli altri, quelli un po' più grandi, Kickstarter italiani.
Aiuto il microfono. Non ce la faremo mai. Ciao.
Ciao.
Allora, noi abbiamo lavorato spesso a progetti molto piccoli. Qua abbiamo parlato di Kickstarter di John Wick, di Kickstarter dell'Evil Hat, gente che fa 500.000, 600.000, $1 milione. Noi spesso lavoriamo su Kickstarter da 3.000 euro, 4.000 euro, 5.000 euro, cioè quelli delle persone che hanno appena cominciato, che hanno poco budget, che hanno un sogno, che hanno un'idea e così via. Qui, secondo noi, la parte più difficile è riuscire a immaginare quelli che sono gli obiettivi veri e realistici del Kickstarter, e tu non puoi immaginarli pensando a John Wick, non puoi immaginarli pensando voglio fare 7C, ora voglio fare Numenera, perché non lo puoi fare, non hai i mezzi per farlo, non hai persone che lavorano lì 24 ore al giorno, tutti i giorni per te. Quindi bisogna essere realistici, bisogna fare capire alle persone cosa vuoi ottenere, bisogna fare capire che un Kickstarter che ha appena cominciato, diciamo, per una persona che non ha mai cominciato, 3.000, 5.000 euro sono un buon modo, una buona piattaforma di partenza per farsi conoscere, e bisogna fare capire a queste persone come allocare il proprio budget, come allocarlo in pubblicità, come costruire un pubblico e come poi mantenere l'attenzione sul gioco dopo che il gioco è stato fatto. Perché ci sono tante persone che credono che basti fare la campagna, fare il gioco, farlo uscire, fine. Invece il lavoro che tu cominci su Kickstarter non finisce lì. Il lavoro che tu cominci su Kickstarter continua nel costruire una community che poi potrai continuare a utilizzare per nuovi progetti e così via. Che cosa propose dire?
Da aggiungere c'è sicuramente che quando si è piccoli, quando si è al primo Kickstarter, alla prima prova, spesso, anzi molto spesso, quasi sicuramente non si ha una community, quindi qui si parla di un pubblico totalmente freddo. Quello che si deve fare è quindi offrire sempre e comunque un prodotto di qualità, far capire, perché è vero che anche un prodotto piccolo può avere una grande qualità, creare dei pledge, degli obiettivi molto succosi, molto interessanti, che possano pian piano scaldare il pubblico e creare la community, perché dall'inizio parti completamente da zero, in qualche modo devi crescere, e puoi crescere solo tramite la qualità.
Assolutamente. Diciamo che riuscire a ottenere l'obiettivo realistico è la parte più difficile. Quando ti dicono ma io vorrei fare $10.000 con questo piccolo progetto e non ho i disegni, non ho niente, bisogna dire dove stiamo andando? Di quanti soldi servono davvero? 3.000 euro? E allora vediamo come ottenerli e vediamo come fare contenti i tuoi fan, come fare contenti le persone che vogliono sostenerti, che vogliono comprare questo gioco, e poi vediamo di arrivare a 4.000, 5.000, 10.000 e a farti fare i disegni, a farti fare le cose. Cioè andare a piccoli passi, rendendo il Kickstarter una scienza più che una scommessa. Quindi quello che puoi ottenere sicuramente, quello che potresti riuscire a ottenere, quello che sarebbe bello ma non si può per ora. E questo è molto diverso da chi per esempio fa Kickstarter più mainstream, da chi per esempio ha un'azienda dietro che ha già una fanbase, che ha già persone pronte a sostenerle e può puntare più in alto. Quindi.
Chiediamolo a Massimo.
Certo.
A livello di Kickstarter italiano, i giochi, appunto, diciamo, mi riferisco più che altro ai giochi da tavolo, inventati dalle singole persone. A che livello di solito, quando arrivano magari da voi, da che livello iniziano? C'è già una demo costruita con qualche tipo?
Allora, se a noi qualcuno, noi ci occupiamo dei giochi di ruolo soprattutto, ma se qualcuno viene dicendo ho un'idea, ok, bello, inizi a metterla su.
Devi offrire qualcosa sempre.
Sì,
quindi devi offrire non solo una breve descrizione di come sarà il gioco, ma spesso devi andare di trailer, devi andare di quello che offrirai, se riuscirai a raggiungere il goal, devi fare vedere i materiali.
Anche
se
perché
non ci sono i materiali e non hai la community, le persone non ti sostengono, ma mi sembra anche giusto.
Anche perché tu non hai una content authority, non sei Monte Cook, dici io sono Monte Cook, faccio un gioco, prima ancora di mostrarlo. Sei una persona senza un progetto, senza niente, prima mostri il progetto e prima portalo alle fiere, prima portalo alla gente, fallo giocare online alle persone, se no questa community come la creiamo all'inizio? Soltanto ho un'idea, tutti qua abbiamo un'idea, bisogna mostrarlo.
Okay, I'm going to ask Max from Wyrd why he decided to stop using traditional publishing method and he decided to land on the magical land of Kickstarter and use it for his projects.
Io parlerò in italiano così ci spieghiamo meglio, perché
okay.
è un po' complesso, nel senso noi abbiamo deciso di passare per alcuni giochi al metodo di Kickstarter proprio perché abbiamo valutato abbiamo guardato al panorama del gioco di ruolo, perché noi ci prendiamo soltanto giochi di ruolo, il panorama italiano della community dei giocatori che ci sono in Italia. E abbiamo anche visto che ci sono tantissimi giocatori. Spesso i giocatori di ruolo vengono intesi, visti come figure un po' strane, un po' solitarie, che fanno solo un gioco, che si mettono a tavolo, a differenza dei giocatori da tavolo che magari in realtà hanno forse meno community, ma sono più diffusi, perché hanno più possibilità, hanno più giochi disponibili, eccetera. Sul gioco di ruolo in realtà, a parte i titoli più importanti che possono essere Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, Cthulhu, ecco, poi sembra che poi tutto il resto sia un figlio povero di questi giochi. In realtà il giocatore di ruolo esiste ed è forse fa parte cioè nei social e nei gruppi online è molto attivo, perché si sente parte della stessa community, cioè a differenza degli altri giochi da tavolo, dove magari in realtà la community non si forma perché non c'è una condivisione magari di esperienze di gioco, di situazioni, di spiegazioni di regolistiche. Il GDR invece permette questa cosa e crea anche a distanza una sorta di community generalizzata. Kickstarter ha aiutato tantissimo in questo senso. In realtà ha creato un polo dove tutti i giocatori di ruolo interessati al gioco in sé per sé possono trovare nuove cose, perché in realtà il giocatore di ruolo non è che vuole giocare soltanto a un gioco solo, in realtà è appassionato al gioco stesso, come un giocatore da tavolo che vuole 1000 titoli, e un giocatore di ruolo magari vuole 1000 titoli per poter decidere cosa fare, per poter avere esperienze di gioco diverse e avere più materiale disponibile. E allora diciamo il Kickstarter e la nostra attività, che comunque nel corso degli anni aveva comunque creato una sorta di community su vari titoli, fosse Numenera, The Strange piuttosto che Pathfinder, eccetera. Quindi abbiamo in qualche modo l'abbiamo poi coinvolta in nuove iniziative, in nuove proposte, non solo da un punto di vista di pubblicità e marketing, che è in realtà parte integrante del Kickstarter e permette una visibilità maggiore e una partecipazione anche più emozionale del progetto anche degli stessi giocatori, che essendo vogliosi di avventure, di cose, in questo senso utilizzano anche Kickstarter come un gioco. E quindi abbiamo con Shadow Demon Lord, che è il primo gioco che abbiamo fatto veramente realizzato in italiano per il pubblico italiano, quindi non italiano e in inglese per avere più più introiti e cose di questo genere, per coinvolgere la community che avevamo in nuovi progetti. Abbiamo visto che in realtà la community ha risposto molto bene e da allora in realtà abbiamo in qualche modo variato questa cosa, perché ci permette di coinvolgere, tenere coinvolti tutta la community che ruota intorno al GDR, anche quella che in realtà prima non era nostra, cioè non erano proprio i nostri giocatori, a mantenerli coinvolti nell'iniziativa, proponendo cose in più rispetto a quello che potevamo fare inizialmente con un Numenera o un The Strange, e facendo in qualche modo partecipare alla creazione stessa del progetto, quasi fosse la stessa avventura, un'avventura a sé fare questo progetto.
Ok, perfetto. Ok, let's get back to Luke. Yeah, and this is a hard one because is just being founded a success, or there are traps that lead founded Kickstarter becomes a nightmare and angry from the people and anger and things like that. How many founded Kickstarters lead to not satisfaction? I mean, not delivery or things like this.
Are you speaking from experience? You sound like you have a lot of...
No, I'm not. I've always been lucky.
Yeah, we really should throw this one to Eric.
If you want.
Well, let me answer a little bit. And then, Eric and maybe y'all can talk about your experience with the very happy community of role-playing tabletop games on Kickstarter. So from a high level, it's fucking magic. Sorry, but it works. I can't believe how many games are created through the platform. So we did a study a few years ago. We actually brought in a business school, a researcher, like real research, not just us being like, what do you think? And he found through his research, this guy Ethan Mollick found that it's something like there's only 10% of games that are that either haven't fulfilled or are not on track to fulfill, that have fallen off or disappeared or something like that. So that's pretty remarkable. So it's not the same as like ordering something from the internet. If obviously the package doesn't deliver, you just like give me another thing and you get it. So there is a risk. It's not a store. You're not buying a product. You're supporting a creator. You're supporting somebody making something. So it's no guarantee that that'll get made, but it really does work. It works at a remarkable rate. Now, once you're funded, then that's the hard part. I try to tell this.
The journey begins.
Yeah. Internally, at Kickstarter, the folks are, they're often thinking about the project and how to make the project better and whatnot. But but I try to tell them that I try to tell my colleagues at work that the hard part, are raising the money, thinking of the idea and raising the money for the idea. That's the easy part. The hard part comes next. The hard part is making the game, dealing with the community, and then shipping the game. That is the absolute hardest part of the process, is shipping the game. So save money for shipping, y'all. But you two should talk about some of your experience dealing with the community. Once you've funded, but just one note. Like I actually got to kind of pretend to be part of Eric's team, or the CMON team recently for Zombicide Invader, and so I was like in the comments, watching the comments, and I watched how before the project was funded, it took an hour or something for the project to fund. Everyone's happy, it's a party, woo! And then the first minute after the project funded, where's my stuff? Where is it? When is this? When are you gonna ship it?
You wanna add something?
Hi, sure.
Hello, Eric.
I stand behind Lorenzo metaphorically and physically.
That's scary.
You could probably talk better about the from a smaller publisher's point of view, but I can't.
You are a small publisher.
We're the smallest. So of course, we're a publicly traded company, so I can't talk too much about the internal works of the business, but I have a lot of experience with a lot of publishers, and as Luke said, of course, the funding is the easy part. Our CEO at CMON has a saying, right? The Kickstarter is about making promises. And of course, promises are easy to make. You can always do that. But the biggest mistake, the most difficult I've ever seen for a publisher after a Kickstarter is, of course, setting their funding goal too low. Right? There's a sort of cynical belief that if you set your goal really low, then you get that metric, that magic metric, percent funded. So like if I set my funding goals like that $5,000 for a project we know is going to be $100,000, then we can say we're 300, 400% funded. Of course that looks good, but the biggest dangers are the projects that set a goal of 5,000 and then make it. They make it 6,000, 7,000, but their costs are actually about 100,000, and they end up making they make something that they lose money on completely. Without naming names, I've talked to several publishers that have made projects that fund $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, and they lost their pants because They didn't do the research, which you do have to do ahead of time. Talk to publishers, get reasonable quotes for their games. In my opinion, add 20% to anything anybody tells you, because by the time your Kickstarter funds, the price of manufacturing goes up, the price of oil goes up, the price of paper goes up.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. So generally speaking, like, and we learned that lesson at CMON. When we set a funding goal for our project, it is what we believe it costs, which is why, like, recently our projects haven't been like 2,000% funded. They've been a little bit more reasonable. We know if we make a board game, it's going to cost us 100,000, 200,000 to print, regardless of whether it funds or not. So we want to be a little bit more transparent in that particular way.
Yeah, I think that this is a very good. This is a very good suggestion, I think, because one of the main problem at the moment, and we also did this big mistake with our first Kickstarter campaign, that we set the goal very low, because our what we think is we will do the game anyway some way, so because we will publish I can see from their face if you're and not too scary, but not too scary the people that want to run a Kickstarter, but if without a company behind, I would be probably dead now, because we raised like 90,000 euros with the first campaign, and the project, the cost of the whole project at the end was around 180. So yeah, it's like the double, and the goal was around 20,000 probably. So it was really completely wrong. But we decided to keep it lower than the real cost. First of all, not to scare people, because I think there is this wrong thinking that a project with too high goal, it could scare people, or it will take a lot to be founded, so maybe people will not join. But I think that this is not the real nature of Kickstarter. I need to ask money for what I really need, and so and that's why we had to make a second Kickstarter campaign to in some way recover from the damage we did to ourselves during the first campaign. Even if our first campaign looks like a success, it is not, and I think that this happens a lot.
Perfect, thank you. So now he was saying he's using Kickstarter for Italian publishing teams. So the question for Luke is, how many people from different countries and languages use the platform to produce, to try to produce their goods or their games, their ideas, and maybe just not in a multilingual way, so not in English and Italian or English and other language, but just in their own languages.
Yeah, well, here is my jet lag. I can't remember every country you're open in, but we're open in most of Europe for creators, Singapore, Japan,
Central
America.
There are people using Kickstarter for just the Italian market, the Japanese market, or is it just something global?
It depends. Like Kickstarter is so anyway. It's available to creators not around the world, but in a bunch of countries. It's hard to do banking regulations. That's really what it comes down to. But backers can back from anywhere in the world, and some creators use it as entry into the U.S. market. The U.S. market's just the biggest market for tabletop games, and so I work with French creators, Spanish creators, German creators, Scandinavian creators, Italian creators, who want to create English language versions of their games and launch them in the U.S. I'm going to Japan next month to try to do the same, to try to get Japanese creators to create English language versions of their games and launch them in the U.S. I think that's just a huge boon for everyone. It's a great use of Kickstarter to make a more international tabletop market. I think it's really good for everybody. Does that answer your question?
No, the question was more, there is people,
It's a good answer.
for example, people use Kickstarter, Italian role-play games. They use Kickstarter for a product just is Italian and they stay Italian all the time.
Yeah, that's the, yes.
So it's happening in all the countries and...
Yes.
Okay, this was the question.
That was the answer.
Yes. Very easy.
So, all right, but that's the other side of that, though, actually goes back to my actual answer for the question, is that, yeah, you can remain in your home market, but you're going to do better if you create an international product.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
Aggiungerò solo una cosa, che c'è un po' di differenza fra giochi da tavolo e giochi di ruolo in relazione a quello che chiedevi tu, perché io sto vedendo, perché sono anche uno che pleggia normalmente anche vari Kickstarter che mi piacciono, ma ho visto che l'attività adesso dei giochi da tavolo è quella di farla necessariamente in multilanguage, quindi già parte con la prerogativa di, durante il Kickstarter, di sbloccare già nuove lingue che possano essere italiano, che possono essere francese, eccetera, quindi il gioco alla base diventa molto più importante e già prende anche quello che normalmente una volta si faceva con una licenza successiva, quindi la licenza, la distribuzione e localizzazione in lingua italiana. E questo ha facilitato molto anche la distribuzione e anche la creazione di nuovi giochi. Probabilmente su un prodotto magari come un gioco da tavolo può essere non sempre, ma può essere un po' più semplice, perché il gioco da tavolo è quello, probabilmente ha una componente testuale da localizzare inferiore rispetto a quanto possa essere un gioco di ruolo. Noi abbiamo visto che molti italiani hanno realizzato un prodotto, ma in qualche modo per ottenere successo, per avere il suo ruolo, l'hanno fatto anche in inglese per avere un pubblico più ampio. L'arma a doppio taglio è che questo sì, è vero, aiuta tantissimo perché dà una maggiore visibilità e quindi magari permette di raggiungere il goal abbastanza rapidamente o di avere cose nuove. Però da un altro punto di vista su un gioco di ruolo diventa un'arma a doppio taglio, perché l'investimento che poi bisogna fare sul gioco, sulla manualistica e sulle componentistiche del gioco di ruolo si raddoppiano. Quindi diciamo che in realtà non è vero, cioè è una falsa cosa quella di fare un doppio gioco, io parlo del GDR, in questo tradizionalmente, perché in realtà il lavoro si raddoppia e anche l'investimento economico è raddoppiato, perché non puoi fare una scatola con dietro 5 lingue, devi fare 2 manuali e le tirature, le stampe eccetera si raddoppiano, quindi è da considerare.
Volevo dire appunto, per voi ci sono dei progetti italiani magari meno famosi così via, che però hanno avuto successo in italiano, o anche dei progetti italiani piccoli che però hanno avuto successo all'estero perché sono stati fatti in inglese, giochi di ruolo ovviamente?
Allora, intanto per completare il bellissimo discorso che sta facendo Massimo, volevo dire proprio 2 cose velocissime. Intanto il Kickstarter come piattaforma è come avere la cucina dello chef, no? Se poi tu non sai cucinare, non la puoi utilizzare. Quindi pensare, ora faccio Kickstarter in 3 lingue, via, così vendo ai brasiliani, agli americani, agli inglesi e agli italiani, è una cosa folle, perché se non ti sai contare bene i tuoi mezzi, se non sai calcolare bene quello che puoi fare, come diceva Massimo, è facilissimo scoppiare. Quindi molti italiani utilizzano il Kickstarter bilingue, ma non è detto che sia facile. Già anche solo utilizzare la piattaforma di Kickstarter in italiano, solo in italiano, cioè per pubblico italiano, è una buona idea, perché è più facile cominciare così piuttosto che cominciare col bilingue. Riguardo i progetti bilingue, sì, ce ne sono di piccoli che hanno fatto un po', diciamo, per esempio Vulcania è sui 25.000 euro ed è stata inglese e italiano, Shattered Tower è sui 15.000, Hollowwind è stato sui 12.000, ma parliamo tutti di progetti molto piccoli, partiti con un piccolo budget, che però sono andati bene. Vorrei aggiungere una cosa, mi sembra.
No, volevo dire che alla fine il punto focale, cioè la cosa più importante è essere onesti di fronte al pubblico con il proprio progetto. Quindi anche per aggiungere qualcosa a quello che hanno detto gli altri prima, non partire mai con un obiettivo che sia superiore alle aspettative o inferiore, molto inferiore alle aspettative soprattutto, perché è inferiore, alla fine possibilmente non prendi più di quello che avevi dichiarato come obiettivo e che succede? Rimani con un pugno di mosche oppure vai sotto.
Okay, another question for Luke and maybe for Eric. In Italy, as most of the games are translated in Italian, we don't see this problem because we don't see the counterfeit problem as big as is in the United States and things like this. So Kickstarter is a good way for companies to try to avoid to have their games printed somewhere in the world and shipped, but with super low quality and super cheap price. Is it something that is used to also, or is that just a consequence? Is it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if a publicly traded company can answer this question, but
we can answer philosophically, I guess.
Anyway, for us, I mean, the counterfeit problem isn't really in our world. I know it happens. I know many games are counterfeited. I have, in fact, helped Kickstarter creators get counterfeited games out of shops and get them off of the shelves. I've helped. I've seen people on Instagram who are supporters of board games, who have like board game Instagrams playing counterfeit games. I've seen so I've helped get those off of their Instagrams. Games that were made on Kickstarter. And I know that, for example, the Throw Burrito from Exploding Kittens, they were very concerned about counterfeiting, and so they kept that project secret up until the moment it launched, and then went into production as soon as the first day was over. They went into production to try to get ahead of the counterfeiters. So it's a real thing. It's crazy how much counterfeiting happens right now, but
Oh, sure. I mean, obviously, I can't speak about. I can't divulge tradecraft, of course, but philosophically speaking, counterfeiting, the issue of counterfeiting in business and whether or not to use Kickstarter as a platform are not really related and not really considered. They're separate issues, and I'm super glad that Luke is active in that, but it's tangential. It's not related.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we are closing to the end, so siamo quasi arrivati alla fine. Se qualcuno di voi ha delle domande per loro, io direi che è il momento giusto, perché noi ne abbiamo scritto qualcuno, ma sono sicuro che i dubbi che vi ronzano in testa siano tantissimi.
Una domandina potessi fare anche te sull'integrazione tra Reteiler e Kickstarter.
Oh, okay, yes. Yes, is something we added in the back of the things of our notes, but it's important. This is also a panel for retailers. So, how many companies are including retailers in their project to try to have the physical stores like us, trying to push up in their communities who maybe don't know Kickstarter yet, or is something happening? I see Cool Mini or Not in the United States is doing it, but is not doing it in Europe, of course, and things like this.
It's up to each individual project creator whether or not you want to include a retailer tier. We do on our projects, for most of them, if you do include a retailer tier, I recommend you start doing it by the case instead of by the game. It's just a lot easier to ship from your warehouse if you're doing it by the case. But it's not required. I can't make, if you're a retailer in the room, I cannot make project creators offer retail tiers. I can't encourage them even to make retail tiers. I can inform them of the benefits of a retail tier, But
Do you see a benefit in that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's nice. Like, I like giving a retail tier to people who want to get the games on their shelves to start. But, man, retailers like to complain a lot. And you know, just I like to cut complaints from my campaigns. But I mean, if you are thinking of doing a project, like, experiment with offering a 50% discount for retailers, you know, for a tier, to offer a dozen or whatever, 6 of the game, whatever comes in a case. But I can't, as the head of games at Kickstarter, I cannot make people offer retail tiers.
Damn. Ok.
Ah, io aggiungo solo questo, nel senso che il Kickstarter è come diceva prima Luke, è un modo per realizzare un progetto, e quindi non è la vendita del gioco. E probabilmente l'inserimento dei retailer è una sorta di retailer, è quello che rivende il gioco, quindi il retailer sembrerebbe quasi escluso, perché in realtà sarebbe diciamo la ruota successiva ad uscita del gioco stesso. In realtà i retailer dovrebbero essere giocatori anche loro, dovrebbero essere praticamente parte della community stessa, perché avere un negozio è una passione, cioè nasce anche come una passione perché uno ama giocare, quindi la partecipazione dei retailer dovrebbe essere anche incentivata non tanto come retailer in secondo luogo, ma anche come persone fisiche, come persone che pleggiano perché amano quel gioco e quindi poi nel loro negozio, nel loro retailer poi potranno presentarlo e farlo, quindi c'è questa doppia possibilità che possono fare, ed è chiaro che la community che si viene a creare intorno al Kickstarter, intorno a un gioco fatta bene, magari come abbiamo fatto con Wyrd, come fa anche Horrible, dà possibilità poi al negozio di avere un gioco da poter proporre che già la gente conosce, e facilitando diciamo, tutto il lavoro successivo di spiegazione, di integrazione, di creare una community di gioco. Perché in realtà già la voce si è già sparsa, e quindi è diciamo, un buon modo per i retailer seguire i Kickstarter, anche non necessariamente quelli che ottengono milioni di dollari o milioni di euro, insomma, ma quello che può anche essere interessante per loro e la loro community di gioco, perché poi ogni retailer ha la sua community.
Okay. The question goes to Eric. Yes, but for example, exemplify this, which is the number of games you ship through Kickstarter compared to the whole print run of a game. So the Kickstarter is just a small cut of the pie of your Zombicide products.
Oh,
things
sure.
like this, yeah.
I mean, okay, I have to answer philosophically.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, we don't need the exact numbers.
Right. So this is the idea, right? The idea behind CMON's Kickstarter games, especially the big, what we call the AAA games, right? Like Blood Rage, Zombicide. The idea, the intent, and we're very transparent about this. The intent is we want to use Kickstarter to show demand for the game, right? And we don't take anything for granted. Even if it's Zombicide, we don't think, oh, it's Zombicide, of course they buy it. We feel like we need to prove every time that any new product we do earns its place on the market. So what our hope is that Kickstarter is literally a Kickstarter, and that we will satisfy a very small portion of the overall demand for it. That helps. It helps us pay for our print run. It helps us pay for our marketing expenses. But ideally, like any reasonable publisher, we want our games to have as much of an evergreen life as possible. So we don't, in calculation, we don't like go, oh, we want 10%, 5%, whatever. We just go, we want our games to last as long as possible, and that is a big part of why we design the games for Kickstarter like we do, and why we take so much beating in the forums ahead of time, so we can do sort of not pre-marketing, but we can do a pre-feedback stage. So it's obviously we want every game to sell forever. We have an idea of which kind of games will sell longer in retail and which one will sell less, but most of the time we're just experimenting.
Okay.
Maybe have your games are you in retail? Are your games in retail?
The Kickstarter games.
Yeah.
Yeah, we in the last Kickstarter campaign we put a retailer pledge, but we are also experimenting because we are a company and we already have distribution, we already have contracts. So for us, it's a little bit different because we have active contracts and selling directly to the shops. It's like stealing the sales to our partners. So I think that I'm not the right person to ask this question because I think for the situation of our company, it's a little bit complex to sell directly to the shops. We did it, but we had to ask to all our partners that will localize the game in every country, and we asked a permission to sell to the shops because we don't want to scavalcare, come si dice? To bypass, yeah. So, and then on fiscal way, it's very complex because selling directly to people it's much more easy, and selling to shops. You need to ask for the documentation. You have to check they are really shops. They need to have a VAT identification number, and for every single country you have different rules. So if you are a company and you have partners and you already have an established distribution, you would like to do it, but you really have to think about, because there are many problems. So shops, don't be upset, please.
Ok. Qualcun altro vuole chiedere qualcosa? Sì? Vuoi il microfono?
Sentiamo.
Io sento spesso dire per i progetti italiani che non conviene fare il Kickstarter in Italia per motivi fiscali, oltre magari una certa cifra. Volevo sapere se confermavate la cosa.
Ovviamente la fiscalità in Italia è sempre pesante, però dire a priori che non conviene farlo, cosa fai? Ti delocalizzi a Malta? Cioè...
Devo dire ragazzi,
San Marino.
Per esempio.
Tutti a San Marino.
È che la legge
ragazzi che anche per
Ci sono, se mi interessa.
Va bene, ne terremo conto.
anche per videogame o giochi da tavolo.
Bisogna tenerne conto.
Aziende estere.
Bisogna tenerne conto comunque.
è che la legislazione al momento non è chiarissima.
Aspetta, allora ti do un aggiornamento in merito a questo. La comunità europea ha rilasciato una documentazione apposita, credo un paio di mesi fa, in risposta ad un'interrogazione del Parlamento europeo a proposito dei crowdfunding. Quindi se per certi versi siete fregati, se per certi versi il fisco si è svegliato, per altri versi vi ha dato delle indicazioni. Vai online e trovi proprio tutta la documentazione. Sono linee guida sul quale ovviamente il governo nostro non ha elaborato nulla, eccetera, però ha dato consigli al fisco. Quindi trovi tutto.
Thank you everyone. Yeah.